Hello everyone, my name is Chris. I am the Man Collects. Thank you for joining me here tonight, not for my usual toy hunt, but for a toy review. Before we get into that though, if you end up enjoying this video, do me a favor, hit that like button and let YouTube know that. If you're not subscribed to the Man Collects, consider clicking subscribe. If you do, make sure you turn on the bell for notifications. That way you'll know when new content drops. If you go to the description of this video, you'll see a link that will take you to my Instagram. So check that out, give me a follow, send me a message on there, should you choose to. Alright, now what we're here for tonight is a look at one of the new releases from McFarlane Toys. This is one, everything right now we're seeing price increases about across the board on collectibles and toys. This is one wave, they went up, and it seems like McFarlane in general went up, and then a couple weeks later the prices increased on the stuff again. It seems that Walmart, in my area at least, is the last to get these. Long story short, I think when these first came out, they were $39.99 for these 1/6 scale McFarlane pose figures, statues, whatever. They're up now to $59.97 at Walmart, 60 bucks. I know GameStop gets these as well, and Target. I don't know what the new price points will be there. We'll have to see. But the one we're going to take a look at tonight to see if we see $60 there is this one. This is one of my all-time comic book favorite characters from Marvel Comics. It is the Punisher, the classic Frank Castle look here. This is based loosely on the cover of Punisher War Journal number 8. There are some differences. We'll take a look at that once we get this out of the packaging, but $59.99. Let me know in the comments before we get into anything. Do you think that is an absurd price for these things? Do you think they're going to make it to clearance? They'll go on sale, anything like that? I've been asked that question 1,000 times. Honestly, we don't get a lot of classic Punisher stuff. I can't remember if that 2-pack with him, I can't remember now who came with him. I was on Hasbro Pulse and BBTS for so long. I don't know if that's sold out or not. So I'll have to wait and see what happens with this statue. But what we're going to do now, we're going to turn the camera around. We're going to take a closer look at this thing. We'll look at our packaging first. I'll show you the barcode in case you're trying to track this thing down your local area. And then we'll take it out of the box. We'll check out the statue. And let's see if we've got 60 bucks in this box. Let's take a look at this thing. All right, guys, you got some glare on the bubble here. I'll move this thing around. We'll take care of that here in a second. But these things are typically around 12 inches tall. We'll measure Frank when we get him out of here and see how tall this thing actually is. Let's take a look at our packaging before we tear into the actual statue. You got your basic stuff here for what you get with these McFarlane 1/6 scale statues. You have a windowed front here, of course, where you can see the actual statue on the inside. You have your character branding here on the side. You got your Marvel logo down here, and always shows down here a picture of the source material, which for this statue is based on his look from Punisher War Journal issue number 6, the cover art there. 14 plus is the age group it is recommended for. You turn it to the side, you got another little window there giving you a side view. McFarlane Toys branding at the top, more character stuff, another Marvel logo. We take a look at the back, you will see a bigger picture of the source material. There is a better look at the cover of Punisher War Journal number 8. It said number 6 on the front, didn't it? Yeah, it says 6 there, but it shows number 8 on the branding. Oh, we got a misprint on the box there. Check that out. Issue number 6, but it's showing issue number 8 here on the back. I need to do some research to see which is the right number. Anywho, if anybody was a fan of Nintendo NES games back in the day, if you're an 80s or 90s kid, you will notice that the cover for the Punisher video game for the Nintendo Entertainment System was also taken from this cover. That was the image that was on that cartridge, and also came with a poster if you ever had that video game. It also had that look for Frank Castle on there. But let's see, here on the other side you got another picture of the source material, more company branding on there. It does come with a reprint of the comic book that it's based upon. The top of it's not very exciting, got a window looking down into it, a Marvel logo, and then your bottom has all the wonderful legalese, but there is the barcode which you can scan to see if you can track this thing down in one of your stores. I know when it went up for pre-order, it was only up for pre-order initially at GameStop and Walmart. I did find this at Walmart. I have found it a couple more times. It's in Walmart stores, so it's starting to show up there. I would assume that Target and stuff will have this thing eventually, but it looks like Walmart and GameStop are going to be first to market with it. Again, the price at Walmart, $59.97. I'm not sure if GameStop is going to have an upcharge on this because they have had a little bit of a price increase on McFarlane. I'll put a link to the description on Walmart in the description of this video, so if you can click on that, see if Walmart has it in stock, or maybe use that to track it down to see if it's in stock at your local stores. But for now, let's get the old razor blade knife out, let's cut the tape on this, and let's take a closer look at the Punisher. Here we go, people. Let's take a look at this stuff. Number one, we're going to start with taking a look at the, I guess, the accessories, you can consider it, that come with these statues. Number one, like I mentioned when we were looking at the box, you do have a little insert that does come with all these. Now, one thing disappointing about this one, when I got it out, you can see it's bent. Most of the time when I get these out, they are kind of a thick cardstock. That one's just got a bend to it. Most of the time these are pretty straight, but this is something you can use to pose the figure on, or any other things you want to put on this, that do come with these 1/6 scale and the 1/10 scale statues. You always get a little, I guess, a little three-dimensional backdrop there that do come with the statues, what's sitting inside the box where the statue and the clamshell is actually resting on. So I did want to show you that in case you haven't got one of these things before. Now, let's get these centered up here. My first issues with this come with the issue. Now, let's take a look at this comic stuff. Now, the card here we'll look at first. I stuck this in a top loader just because it's kind of fragile paper. I didn't want to mess it up, but you do have the War Journal number 8 cover there on the trading card. I like this. It kind of reminds me of the old Comic Images trading card company from the 90s. The first issue, though, comes with here on the back. Look there, inspired by The Punisher issue number 8, original release date February 2012. That's not right. This is based on The Punisher War Journal number 8, which was released in 1989, not February 2012. So I don't know what details you're getting that from. Also, I haven't read the War Journal number 8 in forever. I don't know if that's the true synopsis of that story or if it's a synopsis of The Punisher number 8 from 2012. So right there, you paid $50 for a statue and they can't even get the details on the trading card. It's inserted inside the thing right. That's strike one. Strike number 2 comes with the actual comic issue. Now, this is based on his look from issue number 8 of the Punisher War Journal. If you look on the box, it says issue number 6. And when you open up the cover here to issue number 8, you do indeed have a reprinting of Punisher War Journal number 6. It's not even a reprinting of Punisher War Journal number 8, which is the source material that the whole statue is based upon. Now, the good thing about that, if you're a fan of the early Punisher stories, you'll know that number 6 and number 7 is regarded as the African Saga, which was him and Wolverine, and one of the better Punisher-Wolverine crossovers from the 80s and 90s, in my personal opinion. I have the original books in my personal comic collection. But you can see there, Wolverine comes into it, and again, this is not War Journal number 8. This is War Journal number 6, the first part of the African Saga, which concluded in War Journal number 7, which led into the comic this is actually based on. So, to me, I'm sorry, that's kind of points off. You got this cover on there. You're basing it on that look, not his look from the African Saga storyline. You should have used the actual source material here instead of the one that you did. So I'm going to say, McFarlane, that's kind of a strike right there again with the comic card, and then another strike there with the comic not being the reprint of the actual source material. But with all that being said, and griping about a free reprinted comic book that really shouldn't matter, but again, it's $60, and again, it should matter. Attention to detail. Here is our statue. Now, as far as the quality of this thing, I'm going to go with the weight of it. I got to say, compared to like the Spider-Man 1/6 statue I've got, which is a Secret Wars number 8, this feels a lot bulkier. Now, I'm not going to do it here on camera, but I always thought the Spider-Man statue felt like it was hollow. I don't know if you can hear that. Punisher does not sound hollow. This sounds like he is solid plastic, kind of in the same way the Clayton Crane Venom 1/6 scale statue I got is. It feels like it's solid as well. So that's one good thing. But let's see how tall this dude is. I said I would do that. From the base to the top of his head, he's around 10 inches tall, looking down through there. So you got about 10-inch statue there going to the top of that. So it's not really right at 12 inches like some people were saying it was. This one, at least the one I've got here, from the bottom here, the top of his head's around 10 inches tall. Now, there's one glaring issue I see with this that I don't like on a $60 statue to start with. Look at the grenade launcher. Can you see the bend in it? The down here where the cylinder is bent from the main body of the weapon. You can see here this should be turned straight down. It's got a kick out, kind of curving to the side. If you can look at it and see that. That is very disheartening. Now, I know a lot of times McFarlane Toys, the weapons, whether it's a cane, whether it's a sword, a staff, a firearm, something like that, they're made out of soft rubber. They bend really easy, kind of like GIJoe weapons as well, for GIJoe Classified. This is not that gummy plastic. This is hard, rigid plastic. It's bent. That sucks. That really sucks for a $60 statue. Now, is it bent really badly? No. But again, for $60, I would not expect that right there to have a wicked bend in it like that. Well, I'm not going to say wicked bend, but a slight bend to it like that. All right. As far as the glaring issues, you got that. One more that I have noticed on some of these McFarlane 6-scale statues, at least the ones that are black colored, the black suit Spider-Man and that Venom and this Punisher. You can see here on his shoulder, you see it shining in the light, the little shiny spots on him there. He's got those in several spots here on the figure. I don't really know what that's caused by. I'm assuming it's something to do with the creation process, maybe glue overspray or something like that gets on these. But again, you increase the price on these things, $20 in the last year or two. I mean, you should get, in my opinion, $20 more value out of these things, or quality, not the same issues you're seeing back on the ones that cost $39.99. That's just a personal opinion of mine. The last issue I will say that's noticeable right out of the thing, you can see right here, it's not a solid line. You can tell they've made that right there and glued that to the shoulder joint. You can see it almost looks like it's articulated when you take a look at it there, but of course you cannot twist the arm. It's solid in there. But I don't know, that's probably just something stupid and minor on my personal preference there, but I don't think you should be able to see that much of a line where they connected that to it, again, for a $60 plastic statue. If this was resin cast or something like that, I don't know if you can let that go, but for $60, if it was like a resin or like a ceramic or something like that, I could probably let that go. But for plastic, no, you should have made that there look a little more seamless, like you did over here with this one, because you really can't tell anything on that one. They did do a good job filling that one in. All right, for a glaring difference from your source material, number one is going to be the head sculpt. A lot of people online were complaining about the head sculpt, the way he looks. I don't have a problem with this. I don't think it looks that bad. If you do look at your source material, let's get the comic cover back over here. There's not a lot of detail on the face to that, so I mean, there's not much you can do. They had to do something to give him more, I guess, of a human-looking face, rather than have it shadowed out with very little detail to it. I don't think that would have translated good over to the statue. To me, that looks better on art print. But again, I have no issue with the head sculpt. The only glaring thing that's different is going to be that weapon that he's got there. That looks like something Cable would use more so than the Punisher, because Punisher used actual, real-looking weapons. So they changed that from the source material. And why, I'm not really sure. I understand that looks more like an actual assault rifle, and maybe they didn't want to go with that look. But, you look at the Berserker figure they just made. I mean, that comes with a buttload of assault rifles. The Grim Knight and the Killer Croc 2-pack is out right now. That Grim Knight has assault-looking weapons with him. I don't understand why they changed that detail from this statue. Because, again, this is a $60 statue. To me, this is not something that a kid is going to be grabbing for. It's going to be an overgrown kid like the one sitting here doing the review is going to do. So, as far as my big issues with this, that's it. That's all the ones I have noticed so far. Now let's get into some of the good details about this thing, because it's not all bad. I got to say, the paint apps on this, outside of those shiny spots you can see on him in certain spots there, I think they did a good job with that. If you take a look at the hairline up here, I mean, you got that bluish black hair bleeding down to a white bandana, and they didn't get a lot of bleed over. You don't see a lot of white bleeding over onto the hair. You don't see a lot of black bleeding over onto the white headband. So I do think they had pretty good attention to detail there, where you don't have little black flecks all over the headband on that. And then again, for the same thing with your paint here, going down from the hair down to the skin colors, you don't see a lot of bleed over from either of those, either the skin color on the hair or the hair on the skin color, as you can see going around through there. The eyes are good and centered. That might sound silly, but you don't have one eye droop down lower than the other or anything like that, and they're pretty proportional in size as well. I have noticed in some action figures you'll have one eye is way bigger than the other when you really get to looking at them. Coming on down to his body, again, the green straps there on his bag, they're good. They got a cool weathered look to them. There's no really bleed over in your paint as far as going on to the black of the figure. And then there, the harness on his back that's holding that on there, where he had his little back rig. I mean, it's got pretty good detailing on that as well. And I don't see any bleed over the black paint onto this or the green paint onto the body of the figure. Your belt is painted all the way around his back. We all know Todd sometimes will cut corners, but most time when a character has a cape or something on, but they won't paint the belt across the back of the figure, so you do have that painted on here at least. Now this book, the look of him here, he did not have the white trunks in that. I don't mean to rub his butt there, but he's got the black trunks on there, and of course the white gloves and the white boots going down for classic Punisher look. If you look at the gloves here, the arm coming down to the gloves, again, you don't see any bleed over there from the cuff going up. A little bit right there you can see, but again, that's very, very minimal. I mean, that's not anything that I would say would be a deal breaker in buying the thing. And you can see there on this arm, Actually, I don't see any bleed over on what I could tell for that arm, just showing that. All right, now let's look at what is the defining feature of the Punisher. You've got the skull. That is the classic, I think, 80s looking skull. They did pretty good on that thing. I only see a couple of little blemishes on this. Number one, if you look in here inside this eye, you can see a little speck of white paint there on the inside of the black. Over here, you got a little bit of plastic here, a little bit of a kick out on that, like a little burr. I can probably take a craft knife and cut that off. I'm not going to do that. I'm afraid I'll cut too much and make it look stupid. But that's the only issues I see in that part of the skull. If you come down here on the teeth, you do have one little black smudge on it right there. Now, one thing that it looks like with the light shining on this, like you might have some white paint inside of these black lines. Looking at it here with my naked eye, that's not the case. That's just the way the glare is coming through on the camera. So if it looks like that, I do apologize. But I'm just saying, looking at it here, I don't see that on the actual figure. It does look like they did a good job with the paint there inside the teeth on the skull. They don't exactly line up perfectly with the teeth on the belt, but again, there's not much of a difference. And if he's wearing this and he's kind of twisting a little bit, kind of like he is, it's not going to be centered with the belt that he's got on. It's going to be off a little bit. So I don't have an issue with that. As far as the paint on the belt, I think they did a good job on that. It looks kind of weathered. Again, you don't have really any bleed over. I mean, I guess you could have done some differentiation on the cut on the buckles and stuff there, but if you go back to your source material, there's nothing on that. It's just all brown. So they made it match that. The only difference is he's got some grenades hanging off of him on that one, and they didn't put that detail on this. You just got the pouches going around through there on the belt. And you got 3 on each side, then you got the flat stuff there on the back. All right, your lower half, you do have a couple of the shiny little spots in here. I don't know if it's coming through good on the camera, if you can see that. Again, if somebody knows what causes that, let me know. I'm not really sure. I'm sure it's something in the paint process or the gluing when they put this thing together that something gets on that. I don't know what it is. I know I tried to clean it off with the Spider-Man figure I got, and it won't come off with anything that I've tried. So I don't really know what that is that causes that. Looking here at his boots, it looks like the transition again from the black to the white boots looks pretty good. You might have a little bit of a smudging right in here, but it's not anything super bad. Again, you can see it right there on the top. It looks like it smudges a little bit onto his leg, but it's very, very, very faint. Other than that, it looks pretty good transitioning down to that, even down in this one where you can't see it as well because of the raised part here on the base. Alright, and that brings us down to the base. You got coloring here on the front of this, some reds and yellows and black. On the side is not colored, it's still black. Your sign here introducing damage, which is going again what's on the cover art there. This looks good. It's good and centered and straight. I don't see any chips or anything in any of the text on that. That's a good job printing that one. The only real, I guess, QC issue with this, and you can see it right here, it's not a big issue. You got one slight little paint chip there in that red stripe. Everything else, though, as you can see, I mean, it looks pretty good, I think. I don't see a lot of others. A little bit of flaking right here along the bottom, but that's right on the bottom edge. I mean, crap like that can happen. That's not something I would really hold against them. But you can see there, it's pretty good looking and pretty smooth, except for that one little smudge right there. Alright, guys, that's pretty much it with this thing. Now, let's get down to the brass tacks. I paid $59.97 for this. Do I feel I got my money's worth? I really want to say yes because it's the Punisher. But I don't see 60 bucks here, guys. If this was still $39.99, even going up maybe to $45, $49.99, I would probably still say it was worth it. I don't see $60 here, just for mostly because you got that gun there, it's bent, and it just really, I keep going back to the fact that it's not the comic that it, or not based on the comic that's advertised, comes with it. It's like they didn't pay attention to detail. And that's the biggest thing. Not that it's not Punisher War Journal number 8. It's just you're basing it on this, and then the comic's not even the actual comic it's based on. If you did want to read it to see what made him have this look or whatever, if you wanted to read the actual reprint of the book, I mean, I think they should have made it Punisher War Journal number 8. That's just kind of laziness, throwing something out there. Just telling the consumer, hey, it's the Punisher. They're going to buy it because it's the Punisher. They're not going to care what's in the comic. And, you know, I bought the things. Obviously, it worked, but I wish this was a more assault style, right? I wish he would have went with something different other than this futuristic looking, you know, cannon gun here based on what they had versus the source material. But again, the bent gun here, this to me right here is what knocks it down from a $60 statue. That detail should have been fixed. That should have been something that did not slip through QC. Again, it is faint, but hopefully it's coming through on camera. You can really tell that is bent when I'm looking at it here, you know, in person. So $60, no. Let me know what you think. Am I being too harsh, being too whiny about this thing? I don't see it being worth $60. It still looks cool. I'm still going to put it on my shelf. I mean, just going by this, looking at the actual Punisher, it's a good looking Punisher, I think. I don't care about the head sculpt there. I think it looks pretty decent. But let me know in the comments again what you think about this thing. You're going to pick this up, you're going to pass on it, you're going to try to wait for a sale. You see anything on here that I missed as far as QC issues or anything that maybe I was too harsh on or whining about too much? Let me know that in the comments. Let's discuss it. Be respectful about it, but we can discuss that in the comments. But that will wrap us up for tonight. Once again, if you did enjoy this review, make sure to hit that like button. Also, subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. If you do subscribe, make sure to turn on that bell for notifications so you'll know when new content drops. Check me out on Instagram. Give me a follow there if you choose to. And we're going to sign out from now, and I will see you the next time the man reviews.